Hi everybody, how you doing? It's Laura. I have not been around in a while. I apologize for that. Sorry, as usual, can't make my YouTube work. I'm not fancy like some of these big YouTubers with like 4 computer screens. Crap, I've got my computer, my phone, and that's kind of all there is. So, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I've been working on getting my shit together, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Okay, got my chat going. So, I'm going to try and talk a little bit about that today, as well as, of course, show you some vintage stuff. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, I guess I'll start with I had a couple of friends come into town. These are people that I met through my reselling connections on the internet. Amanda Hale runs Sweet Dahlia Vintage, and I met her through a Facebook group that I am in that is a closed group. And her boyfriend is Stu Ninzi, and he runs Pixel 19. On Instagram, I always get the order of these words mixed up, but I think it's Stu Vintage King Ninzi is his thing. There's pictures of us on my Facebook at Cats and Cats Vintage. If you want to see, and he's linked, of course. Anyway, so Stu and Amanda, when they met, they were both selling vintage separately, and they haven't combined their businesses, but they work obviously very closely together because they're dating. Stu has been doing this for like 30 years. He has a warehouse. Well, together they have a warehouse, like a 10,000 square foot warehouse, which I stalk their photos of online and drool over constantly. And he, I think, specializes mostly in t-shirts and denim, but he does a whole bunch of stuff. And Amanda does a lot more mid-century. She does pretty much any vintage. I think from she does some 80s and 90s, but her focus is mainly mid-century and earlier. So they came into New York for a few days, and I had the very distinct honor of spending every single one of those days with them. And we ran all over New York City and had an amazing time, and I learned so much from them, and I'm going to share some of that with you guys. And I'm also going to show you some of the stuff that I bought, because there is definitely more. It was a glorious and painful trip for me. So I'll share that with you guys. Hi to everybody in chat. I'm going to probably be terrible with chat, because I usually am. Anyway, so I guess I'll say a little bit. We went to all sorts of places. We went to a warehouse. We went to some vintage specific stores. They're sort of more like vintage thrift stores. A lot of Beacon's Closet, which I don't know if that's everywhere across the country, but it's very similar to like a Plato's Closet. You can sell your used clothing to them, and they resell it. And you know, I've been in places like that in the past. I've been specifically in a Beacon's Closet in the past, and it was fine. I mean, I liked it, but it was a lot of modern stuff. And we went to a few that were amazing vintage selection in them. The majority of the places that we went, we were paying higher prices than I am accustomed to for these pieces, but it was worth it. And it's definitely been making me think about changing the way I shop. So I'm going to start by getting into some of the stuff I have here. This is not in any kind of order, so I'll tell you some of the stories about the locations as we go. But I don't want to just make you sit here and watch me talk, because that's not super exciting for anybody besides me. So. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you is this. You're like, what the hell is that? Some of you will know. I mean, obviously you know what it is. These are tampons. This box is, I think, from the 80s. And the reason that I got this, some of you obviously know, vintage sanitary products, vintage diapers, that stuff sells well, and it depends on how old it is and what sort of condition it's in, obviously, as to how well it sells. So these aren't super old. I mean, 80s is pretty old. I would not want to use them, but they're not like crazy old. And the box is a little bit crushed, but it was worth, I picked this up in a warehouse, and I'll tell you about that in a second. I have this listed on eBay right now for $19.99. I don't remember if I have best offer turned on yet or not. I've been playing around with that. I've been trying to, when I newly list something, not use best offer and list it for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, if it hasn't sold, obviously, then I activate best offer. I haven't been consistent in doing that because also when the things expire at the 30-day mark, I don't want to go into them and edit them because I'm really lazy sometimes. So anyway, these are on eBay for $19.99. I based that off of some other solds that I saw of similar era boxes. Let's see how this goes. The warehouse that we went into for these, we didn't go into them for these. Let's see what else I have that may be up here. So we went into this warehouse. Stu had found it somehow. I've actually been there before with Lord, and when Lord and I went, I mean, it's a giant, crazy, like a hoarder warehouse, and it's full of vintage furniture, housewares, machinery, like a lot of stuff. And they really usually have little to no clothing. It's one of these places where shit's just piled up to the ceiling, and some of it's amazing and some of it is garbage, and you kind of dig through it. The reason that Lord and I don't really go there frequently, I mean, it's in Brooklyn, so it's a little far, but the prices that this guy asks are kind of in line with what I would be asking if I tried to resell it. So when Lord and I had gone, he found me a vintage canister set, you know, the aluminum canisters that say coffee, tea, you know, for the kitchen. And I think the guy wanted $25 for the set, which is fine if I, you know, I mean, that's what I would try to resell them for. So I didn't buy them. So Lord and I haven't gone back there. I would definitely go there if I was going to buy furniture or something for myself. But I'm not going to make the trip out there regularly, I don't think. However, Stu had communicated with this guy a little bit online prior to coming down. And he had asked specifically about clothing. And the guy was like, not too much, but we have some. So we get there, and there is a box of clothing that they go through, and Stu and Amanda get all these great t-shirts and stuff. And at this point, you know, I didn't look at any of that stuff because Stu had been working this deal for a while, and I just, you know, and apparently they found some really great stuff, and the guy may not have known what he had. I'm not sure. Meanwhile, while they're looking through that stuff, I'm wandering through the warehouse, of course, and that's where I found the box of tampons. And I actually see something that I have to get to show you. Sorry. Okay. Because I got these also. And they're really cool. So anyway, they were doing that. So I'm trying to whatever. I'm just going to keep talking. So thank you, Cool Box. Oh, hey, Ann. Good. Yeah, the haul is hopefully going to be great today. All right, so another one of the things that I got at the warehouse were some of these old pennants. So this one's okay. I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's a little grungy and whatever. And 1974 World Champions. So I don't know that this is from 1974 or they were just still really proud of that fact. So, but it's older. And so I've got that. But that wasn't super exciting. That just happens to be along with these other two that I found. I don't know which one to show you first. So these are clearly older. I know nothing about pennants. I just thought they were old and really cool. And this is like obviously not as stiff as some of the later ones. I love the Indian design on that. I love the colors of it. And it is a little bit ratty, and it's pretty filthy, right? So that was one. And then the second one I got, which is in essentially the same condition, was this vintage Ringling Brothers flag, right? And it looks like sort of Christmassy themed. So I got these two. And I was talking to Stu and Amanda after we left and saying, you know, I just don't really know how to clean stuff like this. Like, and Stu's like, don't clean it. Just leave it alone. Collectors are going to either want to clean it themselves or they want it to have its, you know, history of dirt on it. I don't know. But that's fine by me. I do not want to clean this crap. So I got these guys. I'm not talking about prices yet because I actually didn't pay for anything. That was nice. But we'll get to that in a second. So those. I also got this super cutie pie hat. And it's like, I don't know what it's made out of. So it's like, there's like a stiff ring in the top and the rest of it is all pretty soft, but it's cute, right? So I like that. Cute little hat. And then I also found this hat, which I just kind of took. There's, you know, we were working a warehouse deal. We were working a warehouse. I was working nothing. I was finding some stuff. Stu worked a warehouse deal, okay? I don't work deals. So this is some little, I literally, you guys are seeing this on me before I've even seen it on myself. I have not looked at this on myself yet. It's kind of cute, actually. I think it's cuter than I thought it was, even though it's, I think, fur. I mean, it's fur. I don't know if it's real fur. Probably. That's the tag. And the little string guys are like sort of velveteen. This isn't something, I don't know. Anyway, I have such a dilemma with fur because I hate wearing dead animals, but I love vintage fashion and I want to preserve pieces when I find them. I don't know. Okay, so found those pieces. There were some other pieces too. Let's see if I can find some of them easily. This one is less exciting. This was just sort of goofy and hipstery and whatnot. It's a velour, like super 70s, early 80s, like the nightmare stuff here. The tag has some weird little cactusy guy on it. Right? Not really, it's kind of half gone. And there is like a spot on this where the velour is sort of worn off. Oh, there it is. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm gonna list it, obviously. I don't know how much I'm gonna do that for yet. I don't know what I'm doing on any of these. The pennants, when I looked at them, I want to say that it was for the two older ones. I think I'm going to be doing them on Etsy in the $35 range, which is pretty great. The Mets one, I literally have no idea. The hats, I don't know. That velour thing, I mean, I'd probably do that for under 20 bucks because of the damage that it has. And I think it's so fucking hideous looking. But it's hideous in a way that somebody's going to appreciate, I think. So I know I got other stuff at that warehouse and it's in here, but it's like buried. I got a jacket that I probably would not have. Oh, this thing, I forgot. I probably wouldn't have picked up the jacket, but Amanda said, I think she told me that it was 50s or 60s. To me, it's just like some jacket, right? And I tried it on. Lord likes it on me, but it's totally not my style at all. So it's this like, you know, just a really basic sort of jacket, right? It is reversible. So I have not tried looking for any tags yet. And honestly, I haven't even tried looking for flaws. And clearly I have not tried looking up any pricing information. I'm looking to see right now if there's tags. When you have a reversible jacket, if you don't know this already, the tags are typically in the pockets. I'm not finding them right now. That's okay. So it's cool. Lord wanted me to keep it, but it's just, I mean, you guys have seen sort of how I dress. There's like, what's happening in here? Anyway. All right, so jacket, but it's cool. I'll put this up on probably Etsy. I like to put my good vintage on Etsy. So the collar on this. Anyway, so that's that jacket. Got it at the warehouse. This shirt, I think I made it because I was making a pile of stuff. And I pretty much had a feeling. So after we looked through the entirety of the warehouse, Stu had been looking at a pile of clothing back in some corner. And after Stu went through it, Amanda and I went through it. And so I was literally just pulling out anything that we might be interested in taking. When we were all done doing all of that, Stu made a deal with the guy. And so he had sort of checked with Amanda and myself and said, for the stuff that you want, what are you willing to pay for those items? And based on that, he went and made them an offer. And then, you know, I didn't get that many things. So I think, so Stu just covered what I was getting, which I thought was really generous. They came into town, and you guys may know I live in New Jersey, but it's very close to New York City. So I was going in and getting them at their hotel every day, and then we'd run around the city and do stuff. He paid me for my time, which was super generous because I also just would have been doing it for fun. I may not have been able to do that many days for fun, but you know, I was so excited to see them anyway. So that was really cool. And he was so generous with his knowledge, with his compliments, with his money. You know, he paid for a lot of meals, and you know, we just had. It was really a pleasure to spend time with the two of them. The one thing that was difficult for me was when we went into a place like a Salvation Army, where you're not going to find, it's not like every single piece is an awesome vintage piece. You know, you're finding good stuff. The two of them are so fucking lightning fast that it was like, oh, okay, I might as well not bother looking, because Amanda starts with the dresses, Stu starts with something on guys' stuff. So, you know, I kind of have to start, but you know, my biggest areas of interest are the dresses, and then guys like t-shirts or maybe some denim jackets I usually look for. So they were both shooting through that already. So I was like, all right, you know. So I ended up picking up some things on this trip also that I would not normally pick up. Like I looked at some shoes, which was also an influence from Amanda. Shoes are not usually something I pay too much attention to. I have started looking at them a little bit on my own, but you know, I've paid some more attention to those this time around. But in a regular thrift stores, they were sort of a tough act to follow because they're really fast. But you know, we went to so many different kinds of places, and you know, even when you're with somebody else, there's certainly more than enough for everybody, as I think we all talk about in this business. Anyway, this shirt I got at the warehouse. It's just a, you know, a men's sort of shirt, but this is the label. And I was going to pass on it because to me, this is just like, who cares? It's a shirt. It's not that exciting. And then Amanda said that it's probably from the 50s. I don't know. It's got wash instructions on it, so it might be later. But I don't know. Anyway, so I picked it up. Okay, so half of this other stuff, I may not necessarily remember where it came from. Like I said, we shopped at some Salvation Armies. We shopped, I think we went into like 1 or 2 Goodwills. We didn't spend too much time because Goodwills in Manhattan are more money than they wanted to spend in a thrift store, which I understand. We went to several Beacon's Closets. We went to several L Train Vintages, which is a chain in Manhattan. It's a chain in Brooklyn. I talk about it a lot because I go to a location in Manhattan, but their locations in Brooklyn, holy shit. It blows the Manhattan location away. So I'm going to be rethinking how I shop a little bit. So, and I'll talk about that too. But I don't necessarily know where all this stuff came from. So this is a wrap skirt that I got. Okay, so this I got in some store in Brooklyn. It's another one that Lord and I have been to before, but you know, Brooklyn is kind of out of our way, so it's like a special trip for us. This skirt was $5. It's like very bohemian looking, and it's double layers of silk. I've seen things like this before, but this one actually feels like silk, and a lot of the ones I've seen in the past seem to be, you know, more polyester. I can't remember if this has a tag, but I love sort of these, you know, these hippie-ish bohemian type of things. What was funny about this is I was going through the bag looking for something else that I had bought because I wanted to take a cute picture and pop it up on Instagram. And I couldn't find the thing. So I'm digging through and I'm pulling stuff out. And as I'm doing that, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I got this. I forgot I got this other thing. This thing I'm pulling out, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't know. And I'm pulling on like a chunk of fabric. I'm like, is it a shirt? I can't figure it out. So I get the whole thing out. It's a wrap skirt. So that was a little bit scary to me because I had purchased this within the past week and I didn't know what it was. So that says something about my mindset when I'm shopping, about the amount of stuff that I have. As a surprise, It's in the Salvation Army. I have to say the Salvation Armies in Manhattan, which were the ones that we went to, are way more expensive than the Salvation Armies that I go to in New Jersey. So they were more in line with regular Goodwill pricing there. It was disappointing for me, but you know, I'm not against anybody making their money and you know, whatever. It's hard to tell with the light. You can't really tell, but these things are all stitched in like a blue stitching. It's got a very nice one. I grabbed it. I didn't see any tag. I wasn't sure that it was actually. I didn't really think it was that old, but I did think that it. But then later on, and I just tagged at the bottom, and it's from Topshop, which is not necessarily that big a deal, except that I probably paid $13 for this. I don't think it was 50. Listed on eBay because it's really pretty. I might do Poshmark. I can't decide. But I don't think I'm going to get a whole lot more than what I paid for it, unfortunately. Another piece that has a similar story to it is this Snoopy sweatshirt. And you know, I looked at the tag, but the tag is, I missed it. This is the tag, but what I did, it's Uniqlo. Very disappointing. It does look older. So it's a really cute sweatshirt. This was $6. I don't remember if it was 50% off. I don't think so. I think blue tags were. So, you know, I mean, I'll be able to get more than $6 for it, but it might be $15. So it's not something I would have purchased had I realized. So we live and learn. And I think that, you know, a lot of us make those kind of mistakes. I'm trying lately to be more conscientious about those types of things. But sometimes when you're in the store and you're pulling things, if you're under any time constraints or you're just getting tired, you may not always do your research or check things over properly. So there we go. This is a pretty blouse that I kind of wanted to be able to keep, but it just doesn't look flattering on me. The color is not flattering on me, and it's a little bit too large, and that's okay because that means that I can sell it and make some money. So that's exciting. This is a blouse that I got at Beacon's Closet, and it's sort of a, there we go, that's probably more realistic on the color. It's like more of a lemony yellow, I think, than it's even showing in the video. It's got that very pretty lace at the top. It is darted, so it'll be more fitted in the bust. It's got really cute little buttons in the back. And this was $13. The only tag in this says it's 100% Dacron. But this is a really cute, I think like 60s type of blouse. You know, it's maybe I don't think it's 50s. I think it's 60s. The hem is like, I don't know what you call this, if that's a serging. My dad's girlfriend, Sheila, will know. Anyway, but really pretty. And I don't find vintage tops a whole lot. I don't feel like I do anyway. So that was exciting. Thing that I also picked up for myself. I love to see when winter comes around because it's a little bit large, but it's really pretty. Not a color that I would typically wear, but I loved this big embroidered rose on this side. I love embroidered. No, this is the kind of thing like I could easily, like I would probably put a belt on this and then have a cute skirt. I don't know this skirt. So it was really pretty. And this was also a piece. And let's see. I can't really see the tag too well because the Beacon's tag. You guys can. Oh my God, I can't see anything. See that? Just getting him while I'm over here. Give you a better look at that rose. There. go. It's a little better. Isn't that pretty? And those are pearl buttons. I mean, pearl-like buttons. The Beacon's Closet location was so difficult because they had so much good stuff. So I got this giant armload of stuff that I was carrying around, and when I pared down, and I did that in almost all of the stores that we went to. This I also keep. I can't tell if you guys are having some issues. Maybe it's back. I don't know. I can't tell if that's me or. Anyway, this blouse. Look at these freaking sleeves. Oh dear. Let me see. Writing in chat because I'm experiencing some difficulties, and I'm not sure if you guys are. So I apologize for people watching this in the future. I think we're okay now. So this blouse is amazing, amazing puffy sleeves, and then it's nice and fitted. And I'm going to show you the fabric up close. So let's see. Sorry about my cleavage. So this is that like super pin tucked fabric, and the tag on this, it says 100% cotton, and I'm not 100% sure that that's true, because when I put this thing on, I start getting a little bit warm, but I love it. I love dresses made out of this. I think that you guys may have seen, I did a video where I had a pink dress like this, which does not fit me. I am so devastated. I'm happy because I'll make money on it when I post it, but I'm sad because I wanted to keep it really, really badly. Anyway, so this blouse. This was $17. I love it. Oh, and I have to show you this because this is super awesome. This is in the shoulders to help keep them poofy. So I thought that was hysterical. I had another top like that that was like that sequined disco top that I sold at Etsy a while back. So there's that. This is another piece that I am in love with and I am keeping, but it's a little funny. This is also Beacon's Closet, and it does have the tag still. So you can see it's like a peasant blouse style, right? And these flower things, it's almost like somebody stitched around watercolor paint, right? And then it's got the colorful edges. It's so pretty. What's funny about this shirt is that it looks like it buttons up the front, right? Well, it kind of doesn't, because someone, like, these buttons are all either glued or melted to the fabric. And as far as wearability, I can just pull it over my head, so that's not a big deal. I was in love with it. It was $16. So the fact that I want to keep it works out well, because it would be more difficult to sell with, you know, like melted buttons. The buttons they're sort of melted. I can't figure out what happened with it, but all the buttons are stuck. I can't unbutton them. So I just have to keep it, but that's okay. I love this. I have a photo of me on Instagram in a similar peasant blouse that I had listed on Etsy. And I really love the outfit that I wore that day, but the blouse sold and I kind of regretted selling it later. But now I have a replacement, so I'm excited. So that was also Beacon's Closet, which I think I mentioned. This is a Levi's shirt. This is another one that Stu found this and sort of handed it off to me and said, you take it. So I'm a little confused by it. So it's a plaid shirt. Like, I don't care about plaid shirts. No bigs. The buttons are plastic, you know. It's very thin fabric, which is sort of a plus in my opinion. This is the label on the inside, right? Levi's. no big whoop. The shirt was only $5. It was 10, but she only charged me 5 because I think she didn't realize that it was marked as 10. Because most of the things in that store are 5. The thing that made it a little bit more exciting, and the reason why I bought it, was this. Right? Hold on. I have to work this out here. So this tag, I want it to focus. So I'm going to give it a second. I really want this to focus because if you guys haven't seen it before, I want you to be able to see it. This is a Levi's, what they call the Big E. Come on. Come on. How about this? Will you focus now? I'm sorry that this is so hard to see, but you can see that the E in Levi's is capitalized, right? It's upside down. So, focus. Those Big E, that's what they're called, the Big E pieces, are made, I believe, before 71, which I learned when I had one of the denim jackets with the Big E on it. What's confusing to me is because this tag has a little E, although, yeah, so I don't know. And this is made in Taiwan. Now I'm a little bit suspicious because I think they should all be made in the USA. I have to research it more before I put it up. It was $5. So that's that. But whether or not this is real, the Big E thing is a real thing. Right? So if you see Levi's pieces with a Big E, they're probably good pieces. All right. I want to show you guys that yet because it's too awesome. Show you this. This is a Beacon's Closet purchase as well. This is another piece that I wanted to keep. It is gorgeous. This is obviously a blouse, maybe not obviously. So pretty. I don't really know what the deal with this is. So it's gorgeous lace top with this little chiffon-y type of bottom and pretty sleeves. It has a metal side zipper. So the shape of it and the zipper led me to believe that it was probably like a 50s piece. There's a couple of things that are a little bit odd about this piece. I bought this for myself, but I cannot get it on. I can't get it down. Even with the zipper undone, I can't get it down over my shoulders. And I haven't worked hard enough to try, but I have to work so hard that I'm afraid I'm going to rip it. So I can't keep it. The way that the bodice is, it's shaped where one side seems more to be the front side, right? Like it seems like there's a little more room for the boobages. But that puts the zipper on the right-hand side of the body, and usually the zipper is on the left. So that was one thing that was a little bit odd. And then the sleeve cuffs, Amanda had pointed it out to me in the store that they didn't have there were no buttons. But the other thing that's odd is it's not as though there were buttons that had come off at some point because there's no button hole. I was going to show you guys, but it's not really working. So there's this little tab here, but there's no button hole on the other side. So I don't know what the intention was. So I feel like this is a piece that somebody started making, and then, oh, the other thing that's a little bit weird is this bottom piece, right? It's like one piece, it's a little longer. It's like shaped a little funny, like they didn't quite get it right. And I think that when you were wearing that, that wouldn't be so obvious, but it was unusual. So I also could not get this on my mannequin. So it is a smaller blouse. I think I paid $13 for it. So I hope that I am able to resell that. I haven't taken measurements of it yet, so we'll see. It's probably gonna have to go to somebody pretty tiny. I could actually send that to my boyfriend's niece. She likes 50s, so. This skirt, apparently I got this at a Goodwill. This is just some crazy looking skirt, right? No big deal. Like, this is not something I would normally pick up at all. I looked at it originally because I look at any kind of colorful, crazy print fabric to see what it is. The reason that I picked it up is because it's Jan's World, and that is a popular selling item, like more 80s. So the waistband is still got some stretch to it. It's not ideal. It's got, I think it's chic, pink, blue, white. It's got the names of colors written. Okay, whatever. So we'll see how that goes. Some Jam's World pieces go for a lot of money. I have not looked it up. I literally was just grabbing things and paying for them. In that same Goodwill, I also got this cute little skirt. So there's adorable little mushrooms on them. Very Alice in Wonderland. This is by a designer who is more prevalent in the UK. And it is Kath Kidston. And it still has its tag on it, right? So there were comps on eBay for this, but they were all from the UK. There was nothing from the US. I am familiar with her brand because she sold some pieces through ModCloth a while back. And she's just super cute, like very kitschy. The company describes itself as modern vintage, and it's very vintage inspired. The skirt has pockets. And this is just such a kind of thing that's, you know, a lot of vintage lovers go crazy for this super cutesy kind of stuff. So I picked that up. I have this listed on eBay right now for $29.99 because this sort of range of solds from the UK were around the $30 range. I think that this brand does have a US following. I just may have to wait a little while to find the right person for it, but it's very cute. Speaking of very cute, this, oops, is a pineapple purse. It is adorable. I got it in a Salvation Army. It is fully lined. I paid $6 for it, and I have 2 issues with it, but I don't think it'll cause it to not sell. I haven't figured out how much I want to sell it for, and obviously I'm probably not going to find great comps on this, right? Number one, I don't really like the way the leaves fall necessarily, but you know, whatever. If they don't like it, they can go buy the other pineapple purse that's online. The other thing is that the strap is becoming a little disengaged there. So what I may do, yeah, this is all one piece. I may literally just cut this and singe the edges so they don't fray and then tie it in a knot. I'm not sure yet. It's stable. I just don't, you know, I think that as a customer, somebody might be turned off by that. I might leave it alone and make the suggestion about tying it in a knot if it comes undone. But it's such a cute thing. Pineapples have been in. It's reminds me of some of the 40s cord bags, and it's not that old. So that you can tell by the feel of the yarn that it's not that. But I don't know what era this would have been done in. There's no tags in it. I don't even know if it's handmade. It might be. The fabric inside is pretty thick. I don't care. I'm going to put it on Etsy as just being before 98. It's adorable. It's definitely going to sell. I might be able to sell it on Instagram. But I always say that, and then I don't list things on Instagram, so we'll see. This shirt I also like a lot. Another Beacon's Closet piece. This was $13. And it's a very gauzy cotton. Let me see. Oh, thank you. That's who's, oh, Anne, with the skirt compliments. So this blouse, this is really cute, and it's actually pretty tight on me, but that's how I like to wear them because I like people to realize that I actually have a figure, which doesn't quite happen when I wear looser things. And then it's got another back, and it's like this nice gauzy type of cotton, and the cuffs, which just came down, are shaped nicely sort of be able to roll back. So if they were buttoned, which they would not be, they would still have this sort of, you can't see, sort of French cuff look going on. I wouldn't button them because my arms are too long. But I love this thing, really pretty. I actually have a dress that has a very similar style of pattern on it that I have to get listed as well. It's so pretty. I love it. It's very like 70s to me. And it's made in India, cotton, so it's very cool. So cool. I love that thing. And this is Little Beacon's Closet 5. Love it. All right. This very bizarre item of clothing, or not really quite clothing, I don't know. I got this at Goodwill, right? So at first glance, you're like, wow, that is awesome. Looks like a super amazing sort of Gunny Sacks style hippie peasant dress thing, right? But then you turn it around, and what is happening here, right? So I have not tried this on, but I'm going to put it on to show you guys. I think it's going to be very large. What I'm talking about. There are no, I'm reading a Bloomfield, like, I don't know if this was a costume piece that somebody made. Obviously, it's supposed to go over some kind of skirt and some kind of something else because, wow, this is really going to be large on me. Can't even find, okay, there. So here's the front, and let's pretend it fit. It doesn't fit, right? Front, little thing, but then you turn around, and it's got like this, and then that's it. There's nothing underneath. So I am going to list this probably on Etsy, and I'm probably going to use some Renaissance fair terminology for it because I think that that's a little bit more in line with what this is. Maiden, you know, that kind of stuff. I haven't figured it out yet, but it's really cute. It's definitely sort of costumey. I don't want to say cosplay because I don't think that's quite the right crowd. You know, it may have been a handmade piece. It's very uniquely constructed. So, and the fact that it's a little bit larger is always a plus as well. So it's very interesting. And because I got that at Goodwill, I probably paid like $13 for it. So let's see. This is a plastic bag that I'm sitting in this IKEA bag with all the other crap. Oh, I forgot this thing. I took it out because I was waiting to show it to you, but this I also got at that warehouse that I told you guys about. Really, really cute. I can't get this thing to behave itself right now. So I obviously would market this as a purse, but it appears that it was actually a sewing box, or that's sort of what they were using it for. There's some sewing supplies in there, a couple spools of thread, that's it. Some of which are older. I have something on Etsy right now that I'm selling with some old spools of thread, so I'll probably just toss those in there with it. But the bag itself is super freaking cute. I would use it, but I have so many purses as it is right now that I don't use frequently enough. And some of them are similar, so I love this. This is so cute. Really adorable. All right. These I also really love. One of the nice things about all of the money that I spent last week was that I really loved the majority of what I got, which is exciting. And that's how it should be when I go shopping for things, I think, even if it's for my business. I don't know if that thing is an apron, Penny. I mean, it seems to be an apron style, but it's not like a functional apron, I don't think. And it's very unusual. I don't know what it is. I mean, I have a feeling it's part of a costume of some sort, but I'm not sure. These pants, all right, some white pants, right? But they bell out, and they were, so these are older Dickies pants, okay? So here's one of the labels. And then there's another one somewhere, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But then somebody seems to have cut the legs and then insert this Monopoly fabric. So that's that side, and then this side is the money. These are so freaking adorable, and it's actually, the waist has actually been taken in, which is a good thing. Okay, so the waist has been taken in a little bit, but the way that they took it in, it's just like folded over and then tacked, so somebody could easily untack that for a larger size pant. I don't think I realized, yeah, they're marked as a 32. They are so cute. I do need to get these soaking a little bit because they do have some discolorations on them in a couple of places, but these are really adorable. Very sailor pants style because of the fact that they bell out. It's so freaking cute. I love these. So I just got dust bunnies on them. Okay. So, and I paid $16 for these as well. But I love them. They're so unusual. So, oh man, I've got some super good. I'm down to just a couple of pieces. I think They're really good. So these were both also from Beacon's Closet. This one, I paid a lot of money for, but I got some counsel from Stu and Amanda. Stu told me that I could sell it for $150, which may be a little bit high, but I feel like maybe I could get away with it, and so I'm willing to sit and wait for the right buyer for it. I paid $25 for this. So it's a sweater, and it says Picasso. It's obviously got that artwork stuff. And then, you know, just black cups and waist. There is no tag in this. There probably was at some point and it's gone. I will look online to see if I can find anything similar to this. I've looked a little bit and I have not found anything. The design on this also is sort of like stitched in. That's the back side. So it's not just painted on. It's just really unusual, I think. There was one spot where there's like a little, I think somewhere on a seam, it's like a little undone. But it was on this, I can't find it right now, and I don't even remember. Maybe it wasn't this piece. But it's really unusual. I love it. And I want to try and put this up on Etsy. And if I can do it at $150, I would be thrilled. Like I said, I'll research it first and see what else I can find along those lines. This last piece that I got, also at Beacon's Closet, is one of the creme de la creme pieces for me. And I plan on keeping it. This is a 1940s dressing gown. So it's a very substantial rayon fabric, and I'm putting it on because you have to see it on. The print is just incredible. It's just one of those things that you see from across the room, and it's stunning, you know, if you like this kind of stuff, which of course I do. All right, so. And, right, so, yeah, there are no pockets. You know, it does have like the metal zipper up the front. These are the cuffs. The buttons are covered. They are a little worn because, you know, it's from the freaking 40s. It's just really gorgeous. And this, I mean, this print, the colors are so vibrant and beautiful. And I feel like, you know, it's not, you guys obviously are not getting the full effect of it. But it's so gorgeous. I love that it has sleeves. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. So, and the collar is like a little bit elongated. So beautiful. So I was really excited about that. I think that's everything from in here. Oh no, also at the warehouse, we got a couple of scarves. I have one scarf that I had been wearing in my hair, so I don't have that. I picked up a couple, you know. I love the big roses on that. That was pretty, and this is silk. And then this one, I just really love the colors. It has a polyester, of course, but it's super awesome colors on that, right? Gorgeous. So, and you know, because it was sort of a warehouse deal, we got, and I think I got a bandana there as well. Some of the bandanas, by the way, you know, like typical cowboy red and blue with white print on the bandanas. The one that I found at the warehouse was older, and I'm looking and I can't tell if this is one. I think this is it, actually. Okay. And Amanda told me that she had sold some of these older ones. I can't remember if she said 25 or 35, but either way, that's really great. So, you know, this is the bandana. What for me, what's noticeable is that when you look at some of these older ones, the print, it's just a little bit more intricate and detailed. And the color's not coming through well here, but you can tell that it's a better quality. It's more nicely done than some of the cheap ass bandanas that you'll see today. And I actually have picked up others in the past that I haven't done anything with yet because I didn't really know what to do with them, but they were so well done that I really felt like I had to get them. So because of what Amanda told me they can go for, I probably will do some more research on them and try to get them listed on Etsy. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about were some of the tactics that I kind of picked up when I was with Stu and Amanda, and then some coping mechanisms that I'm starting to work with for myself. I've spoken a lot in my videos about how I have a problem being motivated, I procrastinate, I have too much hoard, and there's sort of a vicious cycle that I perpetuate for myself. And I don't know if I've spoken about it quite as much, but I don't like saying that I suffer from depression because that sounds like I'm suffering. I experience a low-grade depression. The woman that I spoke with referred to it as dysthymia or dysthymia, I'm not sure. And what it is it's just sort of like, it's constant, and it's just sort of like a dampening of everything. So it's like you're carrying something that's a little bit heavy all the time. So it's not crushing you completely, but you're just sort of always low. And this is something that I first remember experiencing about 20 years ago. I always attributed it to me just being lazy, or, you know, just mostly I thought I was just lazy for a long time. And then later I thought, you know, there were times it's like, oh, I've been really stressed at work and that's why I'm lazy, you know. And there's certainly times when it's a little bit better and a little bit worse, but it's never really great. I never feel like I am up to par compared to normal people, whatever that means. You know, people get out of bed in the morning and they get up and they shower and they have their breakfast and they have their routines and they, you know, and I don't do that. I wake up and I sit in bed for like an hour to an hour and a half. You know, currently I mess around on my phone, but in the past I would have been reading a book or watching TV or doing any of those things. And I just don't want to get started, you know? And then I finally get started and it's kind of okay, but every single task that I have to do, I have to sort of force myself to do. And I've gotten used to it, and I just figure that's the way I am, and sometimes it's easier than others. So this has been a big bone of contention between Lord and I for a while, because he feels like I needed to be doing something about it. And I think that because it's just something that I live with, I was just like, whatever, this is just what it is. You know, like I don't realize how impactful it is. So I finally went and saw a therapist, and I started an antidepressant. It's probably going to be about a month before I start really seeing any, I don't want to say any effect, I mean, before I start seeing a benefit from it, because that's typically how long they kind of take to get up to speed. But I've also been doing other things sort of at the same time. One of the things that I'm excited about, I'm excited and terrified of, but the therapist, the program that I'm working with, you know, I start off in this 30-day program. So they're basically trying to get you through maybe an initial crisis point. I did not have a crisis. I just want to put that out there right now. But that's sort of, you know, people can go there, because the clinic that I am probably going to end up going to, their next appointment was not until November. So this other place just sort of gets you in and gets you started, and they work up a plan, and then they transition you over, and they'll be able to get me an appointment in there sooner than had I just gone by myself. So that's all great. The woman that I'm working with started me off by telling me, you know, I talked about a lot of the behaviors that I engage in that I feel are not good for me. And mostly they are impulse control issues. I shop too much, I eat too much bad food, and I don't do the things that I need to be doing. I instead do, and I used to watch too much TV. I had to cancel my cable at one point because I literally would not stop watching television. I never turned it off. It would make me late for work. It would make me late for other things. It would make me spend an entire day sitting in front of a television when I wasn't working. It was seriously like an addiction. I had to get rid of it. And I tend to go through that with a lot of different things in my life. I usually replace it with something. And so I find that I start engaging in a behavior and I get to the point where I realize that it's bad for me. And I've been very fortunate because usually I am able to sort of stop, but it gets to a point where it's gone too far. It has not gotten to a point where, you know, I'm getting evicted or I'm, you know, on drugs or whatever. Like nothing that bad has happened. And this is all sort of also part of the reason why I didn't feel like I needed to go get help. I felt like these are all things I should just be able to deal with. And anyway, so she's got me just examining what I'm feeling when I want to engage in these impulse things. So like shopping. When I want to go shopping at a thrift store, I have so much inventory here. You guys know, I talk about it all the time. It's frightening how much stuff I have here, and it gets more frightening every day. So why do I feel the need to go shopping? And, you know, I thought about it, and usually going shopping is all, you know, I think for a lot of us, a very immediate result. You go in, you find something amazing, and you feel like, look at this thing that I got. This is incredible. You can show your friends, and it's great, right? And then you get it home, and you stick the bag in the corner with the other 700 bags. And at that point, it's not a cool shirt that I bought. It's a bag of crap in my corner, right? And that's literally what it is, because I don't have a pile of clothes. I have everything's in bags or in totes or whatever. You don't see it. You're not touching it. You're not having an interaction with it. So out of sight, out of mind, so to speak, because once you get it in the house, for me, and for people who have similar issues to me, once you get it in the house, it's no longer this bandana. It's this pile of stuff, right? Takes on a different persona. And for me, that then becomes the piles of stuff that I have to move out of the way so that I can access this corner to take pictures. That becomes a pile of stuff that maybe I have to put in the wash, that I have to photograph, that I have to inventory, that I have to write descriptions for. It becomes a job, an unpleasant task. And what I want to do, part of the reason it's an unpleasant task is because I've overwhelmed myself. So if my photography corner was available to me every day, I would probably come home and start throwing some stuff up on there and getting photos done immediately because I can. And that would be more exciting to me. So that's what I need to cultivate in myself. By examining the feelings that I'm having when I decide that I want to go shopping instead of go home and work on listing, it just brings an awareness to things. And I think like anything else, you can learn something once and it's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And then you go home and you forget about it, right? And it's, so you have to keep reintroducing that information to yourself. And this is, in a way, sort of doing that. And it was also reframing my experiences. Because she said, this is what I want you to do for the next week, and because I'm interested in trying to make these changes for myself, I didn't stop myself from doing anything. I didn't stop myself from going to the thrift store as soon as I left the therapist's office. But I said, why am I doing this? What? Because as she's saying, you know, you're engaging in this behavior that you think is harmful to yourself, but you're still doing it. So what are you getting out of it? You are finding some benefit in that, even though you are also experiencing a negative consequence. And so I tried to look at that. And it's hard to do. It's hard for me to do because my brain also is going in a lot of directions a lot of the time, and not in a productive way, not in a busy person way, just in a distracted, unfocused way, right? I was taking photos earlier, and then I was like, oh, well, I should pack this stuff away. And I'm like, no, I should take photos because I've still got some light. Oh, and I can't settle on any one thing. And it's worse when something is a multi-step process. So when I want to take photos and I have to move all this junk out of the way, my brain gets distracted by something else, right? It'll be like, oh, let's check this email. Oh, let's, you know, whatever it is. So to stop and think about why I'm engaging in a certain behavior takes some effort for me. And I've been trying to practice that a little bit more with a lot of things. I had gotten this book that a lot of you have probably heard of, and I can't remember if I talked about it or not. It's called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I've gotten halfway through the book. I got through half of the book the day that I got it, and I have not picked it up again since then. But even when I was reading the book, I was itching to put it down and jump and start doing some of the things that she talked about, even though I knew that I wasn't at the point where I should be doing that yet. And it's very difficult for me. I have another book that I started reading about my eating habits that I spoke about with you guys once before, eating sugar and what it does to my brain. Got halfway through that book, haven't finished. I still have been practicing some of the things the book talks about, but I haven't finished reading it, so I'm not doing the right thing. Like, it wants you to keep this food diary and notice what you're feeling, and I just was like, I'm gonna do this instead on Instagram, right? So all of these things, I think because I've been, I mean, it's been a process for me. I've been out of the traditional workforce for a year and a half now. And during that year and a half, I've spoken to you guys a lot about it. I've been trying to do things differently because I had to have your own business. It requires a lot of skill sets that I don't really have. You know, I can pick out beautiful things, and I'm more and more confident in my ability to do that on every single day. And I can sell modern things, and I have a good memory when I watch videos about things. I can go into a thrift store and see some of those brands. I can recognize quality items. So I have a lot of really good skills. I go through times where I am consistent with my listing and I make good sales, and I do well with that, and I'm proud of it. But I am not a person who has really ever done work because I was motivated myself to do it. It's always been something where if I don't do this, I'm going to get in trouble from my mom, from my boss, from my boyfriend, from whoever. And in my brain, if I don't do something correctly, I'm going to get in trouble and it's bad. But if I do something correctly, well, that's what you're supposed to do. So there has, and I don't know necessarily where I got that from, but my brain has taught me that good behavior does not get rewarded, but bad behavior gets punished. So I sort of learned to reward myself without engaging in any of the good behavior to get me those rewards. It's sort of like a, yay, finally I'm an adult and I can do what I want. I don't know where it came from. So trying to work for myself is hard because I have to be my own boss and I have to tell myself what to do, and then I don't want to do it. And because I'm in my house, it's not the same as going out to an office. I'm not my only coworker because I have this great community of online people, but they're online people. So I get to choose when I engage with them. And I get to choose whether I respond and things like that. So I have had to learn, and I haven't learned it yet, but I'm working on it. I have had to learn how to motivate myself and be productive because I want to be productive, not because I have to, or I'm going to get yelled at, or I'm going to, not be able to pay this bill. I don't want to be motivated from a place of fear. And this is literally a realization that I'm having as I'm speaking to you guys. So you guys are my therapist right now. I don't want to be motivated by a sense of fear, which I think is what has been happening for me. I want to be motivated by a sense of excitement, and that has been missing for me. So I'm doing all these different things to cultivate it. The other thing that I did was I watched a super cheesy movie called The Secret. Some of you guys may know what that is. It's this philosophy that you put out energy or vibration, and that the type of energy that you put out will determine what you receive back into your life. So if you walk around constantly complaining, I'm so broke, I have too many bills, I never make enough money, you're going to continue to bring a lack of money into your life. Now, whether or not you believe that this is true or a whole bunch of horseshit is neither here nor there. I think that what's important for me is the fact that having a positive attitude is never going to be harmful to you. Having a negative attitude is. So whether having a positive attitude about money will actually bring money into my life, I don't know. But having a positive attitude about money makes me take time to think about it, to visualize it, to think about money in my bank account, cha-ching sounds on my phone, selling larger dollar value items. And when I think about doing those things, I get more excited about them, and I'm more likely to want to list things. And so it's a cycle. And I also go to a 12-step meeting every Sunday that's very helpful for me. And I talk to people there who have some similar issues. And, you know, so over time I've been building sort of a network, and I'm trying to build some processes for myself. I am still terrible at a lot of these things. You know, it's a really slow process that can be really difficult at times and frustrating. I'm very proud of the fact that during the past year and a half, despite the difficulty and frustration, I haven't abandoned it, and I have not, sorry, I didn't expect to do this. I have not beaten myself up for it. If I have days where I have not met the goals that I wanted to meet, and sometimes those goals are list one thing. I mean, sometimes those goals are pretty minor. I do beat myself up about the fact that I didn't meet those goals, but I don't the next day say, well, fuck it, I'm not doing anything because I didn't do it yesterday, so it's over. I've been waking up every day and saying that it's a new day. And so much of that is because of the community of people that I've been able to cultivate with my reseller friends. Even the days when I'm not having much interaction with them, the fact that I can go there every single day and we talk about motivating things is so helpful for me. There's so many people on there who get it. I've joined a couple of other Facebook groups recently. There's one that it's supposed to be for sellers, and it's basically about reorganizing your business. So there's all sorts of stuff, and so many of us experience the same things. There's a lot of us who have issues with having an overwhelming amount of inventory. We don't keep track of our inventory well. So these are all things that, you know, can be difficult for all of us. So I'm in that group, and being in all of these groups, I'm in one of these KonMari groups, the cleaning, you know, the magical tidying up book. So they have a Facebook group, and seeing all of these influences in my feed. When you go into Facebook, instead of having to read bullshit about the fucking president, I'm seeing things about, you know, I cleaned this room today. I'm motivated to do this today. I really need somebody to help me feel motivated about this. That's a huge thing, by the way, and it's part of the reason why a support community is so important. 12-step programs talk about it a lot, and again, I am not advocating for anybody that, oh, you should go to a 12-step program. You know, you have to do what's right for you. But one of the tenets of the 12-step programs is that for me to get better, I have to help other people in the community. And it's true, because you can sit here and be mired in all your own crap all day, but then somebody else has an issue, and when you even just listen, if all you do is listen to them, you've done service for them, so you've done something productive for another human being. And a lot of the time you can listen to what they're saying and say, wow, I don't have that problem, or yeah, I remember when I used to have that problem and this is how I got over it, or, you know, it's really nice to know that we both have the same problems and I'm not alone. You do get positive stuff out of it. So all of those things combined have been helping me lately. But I do think that sort of the big push for me was having these several days with Amanda and Stu. During those days, I bought a lot of stuff. I mean, like I said, I didn't even show you guys like a quarter of it probably. And I spent a lot of money. And while it was great because I spent money on pieces that were really good pieces that I will be able to resell for a nice dollar amount, it was scary because I really spent a lot of money and I don't have it to spend. And the last day, we were in a store and I was buying some pieces that were stunning, but I knew I shouldn't be buying them. And it was really like, it's one thing to go into Salvation Army and spend 20 bucks when you shouldn't be spending 20 bucks. But I was spending 120 bucks when literally I was like, shit, I don't know. Like I'm going to have to make this up because my rent is going to maybe put me in the negative, or I'm going to have to ask my boyfriend for money, which that didn't actually happen, thankfully. But that was a very scary moment. And as I'm in there and I'm buying this stuff and I know that this is bad, I'm saying to myself, I still can't put this stuff down. And that's the first time that that has happened to me, where the urge to do something that bad, I mean, and it was good. There's obviously good benefit to it, right? But I still didn't have the money in that moment. And I bought it anyway. And I haven't done that to that degree probably 15 years. And that was scary to me. So I've been seeing the therapist. I had that sort of epiphany, and I've seen the therapist twice now. So it's all sort of happened around the same time. The first day I saw her was the day after Amanda and Stu left. And it's not because of Amanda and Stu. They were amazing and delightful. It was already scheduled before they came. So I've just got this sort of everything happening at once to help make some changes for me. So yesterday I went through a whole bunch of my stuff and cleaned, and I ended up getting rid of 7 large bags of stuff and a box of some stuff, and I took it all to my Salvation Army. I don't want to say I've decided, because often I make these decisions and then change my mind, but I believe that I'm going to stop focusing on smaller dollar value items in my eBay store and even my Etsy store, and focus more on higher dollar items and more vintage. I love Free People, and I've been having fun playing around with the polo and the Nike, not really Nike, but you know, the spell out stuff and all that. I find it really interesting. I appreciate the fact that I was able to, I don't wear activewear or sportswear or anything, but for some reason I really got into a few of those pieces trying to find them. So I like the fact that I was able to cultivate an interest in something that was not my normal style for myself. But I just don't want to put that effort in there. If I'm going to spend money, I want to spend money on things that I really love. And some of the stores that we went to with Amanda and Stu, you know, it makes it very easy to do that. It's a larger selection of things that are beautiful vintage. They are higher dollar value, but that's because somebody's gone and found them for you already. So I think I'm going to start focusing more on that, focusing more on the vintage. So I got rid of a lot of stuff, like, you know, stupid t-shirts that aren't going to make me a lot of money. And I still love, there's still a lot of stuff I love that maybe isn't a high dollar value, but those things I look at and I'm like, oh, this is so exciting and cool. And I'll pick those up because they're fun, you know? But I just want to reevaluate what I'm doing with my business. And this may change in another month, but in the meantime, having all of that stuff in my house, I struggled so much. Every single day I changed my mind on what I wanted to do. Just get it out of the house so that you can be productive, because I can't work, I don't have space. Because all this junk is in my way. So I wanted to get it out so that I can be productive when I want to be productive. But then the other part of me said, well, you know, you should be responsible. That's all money sitting in those bags, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, it's not money sitting in those bags if those bags sit in my way and prevent me from working, right? If I don't work and I don't list things online because all this junk is sitting in my way and I don't want to deal with it, then it's not helping me and it's not making me money and it's costing me money. So, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling for a really long time, but I feel like so many people in our community have some of these issues too. So I'm going to try to stay out of thrift stores for the month of July. I said that on July 1st, I think. I've already gone into the thrift store once since then, and it's only July 3rd. So I didn't spend a ton of money. I spent $10. I bought 8 items. It's really kind of 6 items, but you know, a pair of salt and pepper shakers, a pair of glass, like vintage drinking glasses, and then like 4 other things. So I didn't spend a lot. I didn't obtain a lot, but I still didn't need to do it. Like even when I got home, the vintage drinking glasses I got, they're cute. They're Budweiser. They look like stained glass, but I'm posting them online for $15. I didn't need to do that. You know, I spent 75 cents. No, I spent $1 each on them, so I spent $2 on them, but I'm selling them for $15. I'm gonna have to bubble wrap it. Like, it's just not worth it. I shouldn't have done it. You know, the salt and pepper shakers I probably still would have done because they were Hazel Atlas, old, and they're not gonna sell for a lot of money, but I love them, so it's different. So it's a struggle, but every single time I walk into a thrift store and buy something that I shouldn't be buying and I get it home and I regret it, that's another time that I'm learning that lesson. And I can berate myself for having to learn the lesson over and over again, or I can appreciate the fact that the lessons used to be like have this much consequence for me, And now it's slowly getting smaller and smaller. I'm coming home with 8 things instead of 30 things, you know, whatever. So I'm getting better. Progress, not perfection. And so that's what I'm doing. So I took a bunch of photographs today. I've listed, I think I've only listed like 8 things so far, but I have all my photos done. So I'm just going to write up some descriptions and stuff. And I'm going to try and do these videos more frequently so that I can sort of keep you guys up to date with my progress on things and also show you really cool shit. I am going to try and start doing some what sold videos. I probably will have to do them with like screen sharing. So there's going to be a day I'm going to try that, and it will probably go very poorly, and I apologize in advance. But because I pack everything away after I've photographed it, I don't want to have to unpack it to show you and then fold it back up again. Sorry. But we'll try that stuff. So I am so thankful for you guys who watched this whole thing. I'm thankful for you guys who watched even just the stuff in the beginning. And I am happy that you joined me, and I hope to see you again sometime this week. Today's Monday, so hopefully I'll do another one of these videos in like a day or 2. And I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you so much and have a great